Conservative Circus, I am your ringmaster, James T. Harris. Our next guest, the Attorney General Mark Brnovich, has sued the Biden administration 24 times on behalf of the good people of Arizona. He wants to be our next U.S. Senator. Mark Brnovich, why do you want to take on this position? Why do you want to be Senator of Arizona?
Because Arizonans need an Arizonan representing them in the U.S. Senate. I think we all recognize that, Mark Kelly represents the values of Chuck Schumer and Bernie Sanders. I mean, heck, James, he votes with Bernie 90% of the time. Bernie's own wife doesn't agree with him 9 out of 10 times. And as someone that grew up here in Arizona, I still live in the same middle-class neighborhood right by the high school I went to, Shadow Mountain. As someone that, met my wife when we were both prosecutors. I was prosecuting gangs. She was prosecuting family violence cases, where we've raised our kids. I think we have an obligation to give back and make this a better place than we found it. And for all the stuff that you talk about, the lawlessness, the socialization of our economy, the nationalization of elections, the assault on individual autonomy, someone has to stand up to the Biden administration. And I am the guy who has the record, and I'm the person that can stand up and defend Arizona values and win. Beat Mark Kelly, and I think it's important to have the best candidate running against Mark Kelly, someone like myself that's won twice statewide and even got more votes than Kirsten Sinema or Martha McSally in 2018, even though I was outspent by millions by an out-of-state billionaire.
You're the Attorney General, so I got to ask you this question. The borders has rightly been a big issue in this campaign cycle because we are being overrun. Why hasn't any of our elected officials declared this an invasion?
Well, James, you know that I actually our country that issued a legal opinion. People can find it on our AZHE website, where we went through the constitutional arguments in Article 1 and Article 4 and clearly laid forth the argument that what is happening right now on our southern border does meet the legal definition of invasion. And so now it's up to the policymakers, like the governor, or calling the legislature in a special session. They can declare the invasion, and the state has a right to defend itself. Because the reality is, we've seen a record amount of fentanyl flooding into this country. I know as a prosecutor, we've been involved now, seems like every 6 months in another record bust. Just this last month, James, in Arizona, on the southern border, enough fentanyl and drugs were seized to kill the entire country. I mean, so these are record amounts. The price of fentanyl has fallen from $20 a pill to $5 a pill on the street. The gangs are making money off trafficking in human beings and drugs, and it's one of the reasons why I have sued the Biden administration so many times, including successfully. Let's not forget, when Joe Biden tried to revoke Title 42, it was me and our office that went into federal court and stopped Joe Biden in his tracks from rescinding that. It was me personally that argued at the Supreme Court when Joe Biden wanted to give benefits to non-citizens. And so I am using all the tools in my toolbox to stop the lawlessness and the chaos at our southern border. And I want to bring that fighting spirit to Washington, D.C. So we have people that stand up and say, Secretary Mayorkas is not only the least competent of the Biden administration, and that says a lot, but Secretary Mayorkas needs to be impeached. And we need to start cutting funds to whether it's the Department of Justice or DHS, eliminate the Federal Department of Education if they're not doing their job, and instead are trying to focus on bringing some left-wing neo-Marxist vision to our country.
We have Attorney General Mark Brnovich in the center ring. He wants to be the next senator of the great state of Arizona. What would it mean for the state and for the country if the astronaut Mark Kelly were to stay in office?
Well, I think the spaceman will be beat by the beard man, as a couple construction workers told me yesterday. And I think that when you have someone that consistently votes with Chuck Schumer 97% of the time and Bernie Sanders 90% of the time, those are not Arizona values. Those are East Coast liberal values. And one of the things that I have done as AG, whether it was suing Joe Biden over the unconstitutional vaccine mandate, whether it was issuing opinions saying that you cannot shut down, churches and religious places of worship during COVID, fighting against Joe Biden's attempts to stop Arizona from being able to cut taxes because they took COVID money. Over and over again, I've had to stand in court and stop it because the left, the far left, whoever's speaking in Joe Biden's earpiece, They want to consolidate power in Washington. They want us to become dependent on Washington, D.C. And I have been about my entire life, my entire career. I never ran for any office before I ran for AG. So most of my career as a prosecutor, it's been about faith, freedom, and federalism. And never forget, James, any government that's big enough to give you everything is big enough to take it away. And right now, we are at this critical moment of history where we have to say stop. And we have to have people in Washington, D.C. representing our values, not Chucky Schumer or Bernie Sanders' values, standing up to and being able to debate and articulate and defend our values so we can stop this nationalization or the socialization of our federal government and our economy.
Mark Brnovich, we have 30 seconds left here. This primary season has been especially nasty. Do you think Republicans can get together and support whichever candidate emerges as the primary victor?
I think it's important for us to stay principled, and I hope all the other candidates, when I win the nomination, will support me, because I have not run negative ads. I have pointed out that I am doing what others are talking, and don't forget, there's a reason why Mark Levin calls me a fighter and endorses me. There's a reason why Sean Hannity supports me. People that know me and know my record know I'm a principled Arizona conservative, and that means that sometimes I'm not going to win Mr. Congeniality. I've ruffled some feathers over the years, but 7 out of 10 times, 8 out of 10 times, someone agrees with you. They're your friend, not your enemy. And don't forget, 10 out of 10 times, even when you don't agree with me, you know where I stand and why I take the positions I do.